Good evening, all. My name is Ryan Terrebonne. Some of you may know me on Facebook. Others may not know me. So I am 30 years old and I am from the United States. Born and raised in the great state of Iowa and will always be known as a Midwestern boy. About 2 months ago, in the month of March, after I turned 30, one thing that I always wanted to do since I was growing up is I wanted to find out just a little bit more about my genetic makeup. So I'm doing what a whole lot of other people have been doing, and I decided to order one of those kits, do the mouth swab and whatnot, to find out a little bit more about myself. I couldn't help myself, and I went ahead and I decided to looked at some of the results. I'm a little bit shocked. So let's kind of go into this together. So I'm going to start where it says recent analysis. And as you could see, if you can see, is a lot of my lineage is from Europe. Okay? It says 100% of my lineage is from Europe. I am made up of 43.8% of German, which is totally baffles my mind because growing up I thought I was French. I knew I was some German, but I thought I was French and Irish mostly. Well, 43.8% German. It says your ancestors in this region were famous for beer. Go figure. That's why I like my beer. Or alcohol. As they might say in the Budweiser commercials, dilly dilly. It may sound like a stereotype, but beer is a major point of pride in German culture. German beer is brewed according to a beer purity law, known as the Reinheitsgebot. This law permits only water, hops, and malt as ingredients. There are celebrations of beer throughout Germany, the most famous of which is Oktoberfest, where over 7 million liters of beer get served over the 16-day festival. And then it just kind of goes into telling a little bit more about Germany as a country and as about culture, which that really shocks me, partially. I do love my beer, and it's good to know that this totally makes sense and why I like it. Go where it says advanced analysis. So the advanced analysis is a little bit more in-depth look of what you're made up of. So most of what I'm made up of is European. And then this kind of breaks it down. So I'm 88.2% European. Okay? That stems from Northwest European, Northern European, the British Isles, Iberian, and the Tuscany Italian. Okay? And then I'm going to go down to where I'm 6.1% add mixed American. So this includes Peruvian, Colombian, Puerto Rican, and Mexican. Explains why I like my Mexican food. The next one is 4.1% South Asian. That includes the Gujarati Indian, Punjabi, Sri Lankan Tamil, Bengali. Never would have known. And then East Asian, so that's South, Han Chinese, Can Vietnamese, Japanese, Chinese Dai, and Northern Han Chinese. Wonder where I got that from. And then last but not least, 0.3% African, so Isan in Nigeria. That's kind of cool though. And then it kind of goes and talks a little bit more about the Northwestern Europe and what it's kind of made up of. A little bit about the history, cultures, obviously. It's like really cool. Gives you like the history backdate. And then I'm going to click on where it says the timeline. So I'm going to answer a few things here. It says that the Northwest European approximated year goes back to 1870 AD, 1930 AD. There's 2 chromosomes. SNP matches 9163 segments 1. Accuracy is about 99%. Relation score is 1151. Again, it goes 4 generations back. This kind of breaks it down. The British Isle, they dates again back to the 1870. 3 chromosomes state that. And so on and so forth. British Isles, that goes 5 generations back. Chinese goes 5 generations back. 1 second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and do some. No, I can't do that. Darn it. So I'm just going to do this. Saudi Italian, 6 generations back. British Isles again, 6 generations. Northwest European, 7. Mexican goes 7. British Isles, 7. Northwest European, 8. Punjabi, 8. British Isles, 8. Northwest, 9. So on and so forth. That's kind of cool though. You can see like how far these go back and what the time periods and everything is. I'm going to stop scrolling there for a little bit. Now I'm going to go into what it says maternal haplo. So for those of you who don't know too much about science, I don't really know much about it, but maternal means like on the mother side of thing. So it says that you belong to the haplogroup U5. And this is what it says a haplogroup is. Haplogroup is a collection of common, inherited genes that trace male or female ancestor lines back to an original parent. Unlike regular DNA, maternal DNA exists outside the nucleus of your cells. Is only passed down by mothers to daughters and sons. So I only got this from my mom. And the haplogroup U5 represents a common ancestor that ties you directly to ancestral mitochondria Eve or MT. And then it kind of goes into like where that's from, where it stems from, and it looks like it's down in Africa. Crazy. And then it kind of goes into a little bit more about the haplogroup that my mom belongs to, which is really cool. Goes into some statistics, the breakdown and everything of what it is. Now we're going to go with the paternal haplo, which is on my dad's side, right? And it says I belong to haplogroup I2. And most of the stems, well, you got Adam, so Adam and Eve were like the first 2 people. So probably stems that far back, which is crazy. So I'm still learning what this is. It'll give me more to read about later. And now we're going to go into like the famous people. Now what I understood is depending on what a haplogroup, whether it's maternal or paternal, that you are related to these people some way, somehow. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me. But this kind of already goes into that. It is common to share a haplogroup with other individuals, and sometimes there may be some familiar faces and names in yours. Based on the analysis of your maternal DNA, we discovered that several noteworthy individuals belong to your haplogroup, which is kind of cool. So maybe they're related to me, I don't know. But one of them is Ozzy the Iceman, Mike Nichols, Craig Venter, there's Meryl Streep, Katie Couric, Stephen Colbert, Harry Connick Jr., you got the Gyllenhaals, Maggie and Jake. And now it's going to go into my dads. So again, people that I could possibly be related to on my dad's side. You got William Douglas Hamilton, he's the Dukes of the Hamilton. You got Sarah Henry Clinton. You got Pavel, whatever that last name is. Davy Crockett. Charles Louis Napoleon Bonaparte. That's kind of cool. He was a big guy in history. Then you got Andrew Johnson, 17th President of the United States. You got Nikola Tesla, Noe Zordania, Miklos Horthy. You got Henry Luce. Got Huey Pierce Long Jr. You got Elvis Presley, Chuck Norris, Stephen King, Matthew Hanson Mead, Edward John, aka Eddie Izzard. You got Novak Djokovic, and that's it for my dad's side. And then it kind of goes into like my health and whatnot. I'll go into that because I'm not really afraid to talk about my health. It says your genotype for stress reactivity shows that you have higher stress reactivity. So I guess what that means is that I react more to stress on a higher level, which go figure. And then kind of goes into why you got the result, what the difference between lower and higher is, and whatnot. Now, keep in mind, this is just for me personally. Freckles. Too darn many. Genotype for freckles shows that you are likely to have freckles. They're everywhere and I can't get rid of them. I'd like to. I've had this problem since I was a kid. Apparently you get freckles if you spend too much time outside. I did spend some time, but not a whole lot of time. But they're everywhere. You can't get rid of them. I often hear people say that gingers collect souls. Couldn't be more further from the truth. Okay, now gonna go into like a thinker versus doer. So my genotype shows that I'm a thinker. I think a lot of things. Sometimes I get lost in my thoughts. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending what I'm doing. Shows that you are at your best when you're not stressed. This makes you a thinker. People with this genotype reach peak mental performance when they are not stressed. When put under pressure, however, thinkers may underperform. But this genotype doesn't define you as a person. With practice, you can perform optimally in any situation. Then it kind of goes into whatever else might educate me on it. And salt taste. I'm more sensitive to salt. That's what it says. That's why I try not to add a whole lot of salt to my stuff. Because the majority of the stuff that food comes in, whether it's preservative or not, It has salt already in it. So it kind of goes into that. Pain threshold. Now, I never really understood this, but it says your genotype or pain threshold shows that you have a high pain threshold. Funny thing about pain thresholds is I remember having lunch with my pastor at El Portel. It's like a Mexican restaurant here in Marshalltown, Iowa. And he told me church planting is all about your pain threshold. How much pain can you handle? He says your pain threshold is the smallest intensity of stimulus that you perceive as painful. Your results show that you have a high pain threshold. This means that you will rarely notice small pains. You may be able to shrug off bug bites, paper cuts, scrapes, but everybody's body is different. You can be more sensitive to pain if it's infrequent. If you feel pain on a frequent basis, recommend that you talk to your doctor. Only kind of pain that I'm feeling right now due to the new job is just pain in my lower back because it involves a lot of lifting. I probably lift more with my back than I do my knees, which is horrible, but I get it. And then again, it goes into other things. Sweet tooth, I know for a fact that I have a sweet tooth. But it's saying your genotype shows that you have a low likelihood for having a sweet tooth. It's probably because I don't eat a whole lot of candy and whatnot. I feel like candy makes you fat, but then majority of my weight is from alcohol and pop. And then eating like foods that are like high in carbs, like pasta and whatnot. I don't know how to explain that. But it says if you find yourself craving sweets more than other foods, you might have a sweet tooth. Your results show that you have a low likelihood for having a sweet tooth. You're unlikely to desire sweet foods over other foods, but everybody's body is different. But motion sickness. I don't think I have that problem because I went on a cruise when I was 16 and I didn't have any problem. I did take some medicine for that, but I know my sister Danny might have that because sometimes she would get sick during car rides. Again, low likelihood of motion sickness. Now, misophonia, I have no clue what that is. Shows that I have inconclusive results. Unfortunately, we were unable to determine your genotype. Don't worry, this does not affect your other reports. This only means that the data we got from studying your DNA wasn't sufficient to confirm that. Okay. So, I could probably look that up. Don't know what it is, but never hurts to learn. So, photic. Genotype for photic sneeze reflex shows that you have a likely to have it. Don't really know what that is, but I will say this. Sometimes I catch myself sneezing when I am trying to flirt with somebody, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It's weird, but it's just who I am. It says individuals who have photic sneeze reflex will sneeze in response to sudden changes in brightness. That's crazy. Well, that kind of makes sense. Like when the sun is so bright, you kind of, yeah. Turning on a light bulb, looking at the sun, or going from inside to outside might trigger the reflex. Shows I have a high likely to have it. May be subject to uncontrolled sneezing when exposed to bright lights. Okay, earwax. I have ear problems. And I have wet earwax, which means it's more liquid. That's why I use Q-tips. What else we got here? We got body odor. I think that's a problem too. For sure. Normal or strong body odor usually happens whenever I work out. I don't smell that good, but trust me, I try to cover it up. Food cravings. I have some food cravings, but not a whole lot. umami taste. I can taste savory flavor. You can taste unani in foods. Savory flavor that comes with sushi, broths, cooked meat, fermented products. While this doesn't predict whether you like it or not, an occasional craving for savory food may indicate a need for protein. Recommend that you pay particular attention to the nutrients, vitamins you consume. Make sure you meet the daily recommended intakes to stay healthy. That's interesting. Bitter taste. High sensitivity to bitter taste. Drowsy after eating. Not really. Maybe after having too many beers. I'd be guilty of that. Asparagus smell. Yeah, go figure. I do like asparagus, but I hate the smell afterwards. I know if there's one thing I could do to get rid of my in-laws, eat asparagus. Don't have any in-laws right now, so I don't have that problem. Floral fragrance. I have a low immune system to that. Red hair. Somewhat likely to have red hair, like here. But when you look at here, it's more like brown. My dad is like a dark brown. Mom has kind of a dark brown too. So that's kind of cool. Thick hair. Unlikely to have thick hair. I have thin hair. Right now, didn't look like I have any hair, but that's just what it is. Brown versus blue eyes. Well, I have blue eyes. Likely to have blue eyes. That's kind of cool. But what I heard is like everybody has the same eye color when they're born. It's just how the light hits your eyes is what color it makes. Because every eye, basically everything reflects differently. Mosquito bite size, I get pretty big ones. I don't like mosquito bites. I hate them. Now we are going to go into health and wellness. Low likelihood to salt sensitivity, airway inflammation, normal effects, caffeine anxiety. I have quite high. It says that I have an increased risk of insomnia, nervousness, faster heart rate, and mood fluctuations due to caffeine consumption. Tells me that I should limit myself. But it helps me stay awake. Says I have slow caffeine metabolism. That explains a lot of weight gain. Moderate. I don't drink a whole lot of it, but in my mind, I think like I do. Oh, this is a hard word to pronounce. Triglyceride levels? Moderate levels? Okay. Talking about my obesity. Alcohol flush. Dun dun dun. Your genotype for alcohol flush shows that you are unlikely to flush with alcohol consumption. So your body can process whatever this word is, acetaldehyde, thus you may drink more than other people before you experience adverse reactions. Some of these reactions include your cheeks getting red, your heart beating faster, becoming nauseated. While this might feel like a win, it puts you in higher risk for alcohol-induced diseases, alcohol dependency. So I gotta watch my alcohol intake, definitely. I recommend you limit your alcohol beverage intake. Space your consumption out by drinking water so you stay healthy. You're right. Deep sleep. Unlikely to be a deep sleeper. I do. I try to sleep like maybe 1 to 2 hours, but I end up waking up, reading, whatever. That's what I do. Okay, my fish levels. Unlikely to have low FAs. FSH levels. It's an essential hormone in women's health, I would hope. I was born a guy, I want to stay a guy. And testosterone levels. At risk for low testosterone. And that explains some things. Not a whole lot, but it explains a lot. Okay, and we're gonna go on to nutrition. I could keep going down this, but I don't want to bore you guys. This is more so like for myself. So I think I'm just gonna stop here. And okay. Well, thank you guys for kind of listening to me. Hope you have a wonderful day. God bless.